Ben, bonsoir tout le monde.
Good evening, everyone.
J'aime toujours l'utiliser, marteau.
I always like to use my hammer.
Vous souhaitez la bienvenue.
I would like to welcome you to our regular meeting of December 4th.
Puis, je tiens juste à mentionner.
And I just want to mention we are gathering at the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq and Maliseet people.
Deuxième chose à l'ordre du jour.
Second thing on the agenda for call to order, we recognize one employee this evening, and some will come up probably at the next meetings in January. He's one of our former employees in Public Works, and he's been it was there for a long time. Frank Boudreau. He was a young lad at the time. After 34 years of service, he retired earlier this year. And he told us he's still working, but he's working for pleasure. He was our mechanics for over 30 years, and he was very capable of keeping our equipment on the road to make sure it was working properly. And when we needed it, the first time I met with him, he introduced our snowblower, and that was built in 1976 from Bombardier. It looks like when Bombardier invented this snowmobile, was square, and I thought it would go to a museum. I don't know where it went, where it is now, but we upgraded our equipment, and Frank was always happy when we had brand new equipment, especially if it was working properly. And I have a pleasure to present him a little plaque and a plaque, and it says it's presented to Frank Boudreau as a recognition for his 34 years of service rendered to the community as mechanic operator for the town of Shediac. So together, let's congratulate Frank. Frank, I would like you to come up front. Yes. Oh, he's saying they signed a card for Frank. I believe they're taking a picture. Say congratulations, Frank.
So là, on peut aller à l'adjournement? No.
Now we can go to the adjournment. No, he's just joking. So, thank you very much for this opportunity. We will have the opportunity to repeat it with other team members who retired recently. Mr. Clerk, we do have quorum. We are at full capacity this evening. Councillor Lloyd is back from his trip. Welcome back, Councillor Lloyd. Number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Any council members who would like to declare a conflict of interest on the agenda item for this evening? Seeing no one, thank you very much. Adoption of the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you, so I would need a motion to adopt the agenda, moved by Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. All those in favor, signify saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of November 20th, 2023, our last regular meeting. So you had the opportunity to read.
To adopt the minutes as for the 20th of November, seconded by Councillor Joël Després. Questions? All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Prochain, présentation publique.
Next item, public presentation. We have none for this evening. We had a few 2 weeks ago at the last meeting. In terms of correspondence, Mr. CEO will go through it. Thank you. Only one correspondence for the library, the public library of Shediac. It's to reappoint like a member of the commission. So we received a request on October 11, 2023, signed by the president of the Public Library Commission, Mrs. Shediac, to appoint Mavis Leger for a 3-year term, renewable. So there is a resolution, and if a council member would like to read. Deputy Mayor, since I'm the representative for the library, Shediac Library appointment. Be it resolved that the council accept the mandate of the new member of the Shediac Public Library Commission as presented in a letter to the mayor dated October 11, 2023. I shall move by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette-Boudreau and seconded by Councillor Janice Cormier. Question, if not all in favor, saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. The standing and special committee reports, only the financial report once a month, so it's not this meeting, and not for policing services, but we have the building permit report. So Mr. CEO, would you like maybe just to give us an overview? So the building permits, it's there for your information. And by the end of November, we had 102,584,000 worth in building permits. And already we knew it would be a record year. So the record continues to increase. And there will be the month of December left to add to this report. Once the month is finished, I think it would be the 3rd year in a row that we are breaking records for building permits in our municipality. Thank you very much. Councillor Paul-Boudreau, question, just a question. I don't know. Greenhouse on Main Street, the director is not here, so what are the plans for what they demolish? But I'm not sure the developer himself made this project public, so I'm not sure I'm able to do so. But the owner, the one who purchased the land, he got the permit he needed from Eco 360 to demolish. There's certainly a project that will be there, but I don't think he discussed publicly. I don't think it's up to us to make the announcement to the developers, but definitely there's a project. And if they ask for rezoning, we thank you. So the building permit report, so it was for your information. The CEO report, thank you very much. Just a few points I wanted to mention to you, following some requests or questions from council members in the past. We submitted the request to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure concerning the intersection of Route 132 and Route 15, as Councillor Després mentioned a motion to the council, and it was submitted. And we had a meeting recently with the regional engineer, with the department, the DTI, and we discussed some issues and questions we got from
for Councillors Murray Lloyd. We asked about the possibility of installing sidewalks at Shediac Cape, as well as for Councillor McEnroy, who had talked about the water line with fire hydrants. So we did meet with the regional engineer, district engineer, just to get a sense of, if council ever did want to do a project like one of those, would it be possible to do so within the existing right of way of the roads that belong to the province? And obviously there'd be a few hoops to jump through, but essentially the answer is yes. It would be similar to what the department has done in the past to bring the water service to Shediac Cape School, for example. Or I know that for the Sewerage Commission, there's some lines that go beyond the municipal boundaries as well, like in Bereshwa. So they would have to have, we would have to have an agreement in place with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, which would allow us to work within their right of way. But I guess the question was, first of all, just to understand if it was even doable or not. And we're told that yes, it is an option, but there would be a process that would need to be followed. So aussi, juste une mise à jour concernant le parc industriel.
Also, just a quick update concerning the industrial park. I know we were all looking forward to see what would be the next steps on this file, and the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, they want to proceed with an assessment of all the lands unoccupied, like in the Shediac Industrial Park. It's a process. So we thought we might have a definitive answer from the department, but to do the evaluation, well, it could take a couple of months. So it should bring us to February, before this evaluation report is concluded. And we're hoping it might be the last step, and that the department will be able to come back with a more definitive answer. So this work is ongoing. So the deputy mayor and a few employees of the municipality met a delegation from Saint-Pierre and Béclanclin, it was on November 23rd, to discuss cultural exchange and also for youth activities. So 2023 was the year for twinning. So we discussed with Beaubridge, we discussed with Charlottetown, and now we're discussing with Saint-Pierre, because they have some twinning that's been in place since 1981, but there were not a whole lot that was done on this agreement. So they met with us to see if there would be opportunities to renew this agreement, and we also got an answer concerning the additional cost for translation, but we already received some monies from the Association Francophone de Municipalité de Nouveau-Brunswick, and they did confirm there will be another funding round for 2023-2024. So we did not get the details yet, but we were told it's coming soon. So we can certainly apply for some help and additional costs for translation. And other than this, well, we're trying to finalize the end of year 2020 year and finalize the 2024 budget. It was submitted to the province, and we're waiting for the official answer to see if our budget was approved or not. We don't foresee any problems, but we did not get the official response yet. Thank you very much. Thank you for this follow-up. Councillor Janice Cormier, can I ask, do we have other information for the Anglophone school? Not officially. We're being told 1 week to another the announcement is coming up, but I know the provincial government submitted this capital budget for 2024 last week in Fredericton, even though this project was announced in 2023. So it's not the same budget, but we're expected, we'll say, from 1 week to within a few weeks, the announcement will be made. But we were told a land was selected within the town of Shediac. But once again, it's not me to do the announcement on behalf of the provincial government, but they're telling us it's coming very soon. But I could give you as a point of information, our economic development director sits on the committee for for the building committee. Like that was, this committee was established by the school district. So they had asked to have an employee to be part of this committee. So for now, it's the director of economic development that we sit on this committee. I know we had a couple of meetings with them. So the work has started to build like the school is being started by the district and the representative of Shediac School, but it's up to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure to make the announcement about the land. As like the government told us previously, well, it's a construction of a new school that would open in 2027. So they will not be starting like the construction in the spring. They're at the design step. So before, stay tuned. Now, recommendation for Plan Eco 360. So we have none this evening. We have nothing under unfinished business or new business. So in terms of requests from the council members, Councillor Cormier was a little bit before. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertrand. It was on Chesley Street. So before, no parking. So it's on each side of the signs, like up to Dona Street. And people living in the streets, before it was there, but the plow may be damaged or signed. Since it's a roundabout and an artery, they think it's dangerous, like when the cars are parked along the street. So they're wondering if we could install those sign back. Certainly, it's something I can check with my team. Thank you. It's well possible, like a piece of equipment that damaged those signs. So the bylaw states which street allows some parking and which street does not allow. Either it's on the list or not, but I think it should be. Mrs. Deputy Mayor, Sylvie Colette-Boudreau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I heard today with the snow, so might be less of a problem, but I heard today on the road, like where the new sidewalk, I don't recall like the name of the Ohio road. She was, and because the sidewalk is made out of asphalt from a certain distance or for all of it, some people are using the sidewalk like to go like to businesses, like a parking lot. Instead of using like the street, I did not turn like this, but let's say everything seems to be at the same level. So I did not do this, but someone told me, well, it happened very often. Not Mike's service station, but two business before there's a dog groomer or
bumper to bumper.
Bumper to bumper, I think. There are like two driveways, but some people using like the sidewalk, and they're not doing it on purpose. Like they're mistaking. So our director, so good evening, everyone. We're aware like of the fact that it's not really clear like for drivers, and so we have a strategy we will apply in the spring, like with signs and light painting, like to define the sidewalk. It's too late, like the paint wouldn't stay. So with the snow, eventually, like it will be like a more defined like a corridor. There will be like a snowbank. Sometimes Mother Nature can provide some solution.
Councillor Harry McEnroy.
Councillor Harry McEnroy.
I have a notice of motion.
Sure.
I hereby give notice that at the next regular meeting of Shediac Town Council, I intend to introduce the following motion. Whereas it is fundamental for effective, responsible representation by members of council that they be fully informed of agenda items and associated reports and recommendations well in advance of a public council meeting. And whereas transparent and open governance requires that residents and the public generally be informed in advance of the content of agenda items of a public council meeting. And whereas the council of the town of Shediac requires timely provision of all public council meeting information and is committed to transparency and open government in the conduct of the governance of the town, therefore be it resolved that the complete agenda and associated reports and recommendations be provided to council members on the Friday prior to a public council meeting scheduled for Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McEnroy.
Could I just on that point, Councillor, and I'll start, I guess, by apologizing because there was some information that was sent late for this meeting. And I understand we always do our best to try to get the packages to council as quickly as possible. And there's actually, it's actually in our procedural bylaw, there are stipulations there that it needs to be at least 2 days before the day fixed for a regular meeting. But there's also deadlines on when we can receive agenda from council members to be put on the agenda. And sometimes those come in beyond the deadlines as well. So it's always a juggling act to try to get the packages put together as quickly as we can and get them to you. But we're at the year end and there's a lot going on and there were some delays. So I do want to apologize for that. But I just wasn't sure if you realized that there actually was a section in the procedural bylaw that spoke to that. So I don't know if it's just, I mean, obviously we need to start by respecting what's in there and I realize that.
Okay, I'll speak with the clerk and review the matter before the next meeting.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Like I said, there already are provisions in place.
Yeah,
just sometimes
it's just that
sometimes we haven't met them.
one wouldn't have known there were provisions in place based on our experience over the last several meetings, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, and hey, always a good thing to have things well in advance so at least folks can read them, have a chance to read them to get a good grasp, and then you have a better conversation after that. Donc, présentation et lecture des
presentation and the reading of bylaws, so there are no new bylaws, but we have motion and resolution. First, Eco 360 and the new recycle program. Mr. CEO, you could give us maybe a little bit of context. So I can certainly start, but I might ask our director to help because I think he attended more meetings than myself on this matter. But you had the presentation a couple of weeks ago from Eco 360 concerning this new recycle program. It's a program that were imposed provincially by the provincial government. And there's an entity called the Circular Materials. So it's an association representing like the industry of the contributor of like big user of packaging, like such as Costco, Walmart, and others are part of this organization that was mandated by the province of New Brunswick to offer a service like within the province. And all the municipality have the choice either to opt in the program, and if we opt in, well, there are some pros and cons, and if we choose not to get to opt out, there's pros and cons too, according to the best of the information we got like from what we could see. And from the two sides, our recommendation would be to get on board, to opt in for the new program. But I would ask maybe to our director if he could maybe mention the pros and cons of the two options, so that the council can have a better grasp of the implications. So maybe to do a quick clarification. So the program implemented by the province, either like the town Shediac decides to opt in or opt out, it will apply. So just the way it will be implemented, that will be different. So in the case we would opt in like to become the service provider, like for the solid waste collection. So the town would take the responsibility of this aspect. So with this, it brings there are some benefits. So the town has more control on these projects and on which day the collection will be done. We can keep the same day we're picking up the blue bags. And there's also a revenue also per a household that is included $31.37. But we have to understand our costs with the program, it will increase the cost we're paying. So we should be we should be ahead financially, but it's not a clear calculation $31 plus the number of households.
Essentiellement, c'est ça. That's the major elements of the advantages. There's some risk. The limits on contamination in terms of the recyclables will be higher. At the start, there'll be a little bit more of a grace period, but as time goes on, we'll really have to advise the public in terms of the regulations and make sure that we're doing well. So I don't know if that explains. If I might also add, this only applies to for those of you who know the current system, it only applies to the blue bags. The clear bags and the green bags are as is. This is really just the blue bags. Because the program, well, pardon me, I forget the French word here, but it's the PPP, product packaging and plastics, printed paper and plastics. It's everything packaging of the products that we buy. That's what they want to put the emphasis on to do more recycling. I think that in our region, in southeast New Brunswick, we're probably the region that's most advanced in the province. This is an effort that the province is doing to try to bring all of the province at a higher level in terms of recycling. But it does have an impact on us still. We'll be able to put fewer things in a blue bag in the future than what we currently place in a blue bag. And that's where it could have a negative impact. If there's more going in the clear bag, it means that the fees that we'd be paying at the dump could increase. That's where there's a tie between the two. We're trying to stay up to date in what's going in the other municipalities around us as well. All of the municipalities in the Regional Service Commission for Southeastern New Brunswick have been asked to take a position on this from here to the end of the month, December 18th. That's just it. Just want to add, by way of information, the Regional Service Commission, I sit on that as your representative. It's a bit unfortunate for our region, but for the other regions, it's a major plus. Many other regions, they hardly recycle anything. They don't collect at home. You have to bring all your recyclables to a recycling center. Otherwise, everything they pick up at your house, it's your organics and your garbage, and it goes right to the dump. So it's harder for those residents. Here in southeastern New Brunswick, we collect recycling, we pick it up at your home, at the entrance to your home. Well, since 20 years ago, 20 years more, actually. It's just different means. The program that the province is bringing forward will help overall New Brunswick society. A little less in our case, in some sense, but we're going to put fewer things in the blue bag, so they'll go in the clear bag. It's not as great. What goes in the clear bag goes directly into the dump. It's buried like before, like in the olden times. At Eco 360, they're creating a new garbage cell once every 2 years. So at the cost of, well, I want to say it's $3 million each time. At some point, you're going to be missing land. You have to create another dump somewhere else. It's not as we've been doing. It's no different than what we've been doing over the past 50 or 60 years. Every 2 years, we spent a certain amount of money. All the municipalities pay for it. If we increase that frequency, that just means it will increase our costs. That's why the more you can remove from the dump and recycle, your garbage cell lasts longer, and it will help with recycling. It's not going in the landfill. What's interesting with this program is that it will apply to residentially. It will also apply to apartments where there's no recycling right now. There's no way for collection for recycling there. So if you live in an apartment, to a duplex, an apartment block, for example, there's no recycling programs. You can create one yourself and bring it somewhere, but I don't think anybody's going to make a big trip to bring their garbage. They'll do it for cans and bottles that you get a certain amount of money for. There are certain pros and cons overall, but at least it'll bring some revenue to the town to do the recycling that we currently do. In some sense, nobody's paying us to recycle. We pay it out of our own taxes. Questions? Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. A few questions. We're speaking of what's the real revenue here that we would hope to receive. You spoke of $30-odd. Is it per year, per month, per week? It's per year, per household, per year. Do we have a calculation in terms of what it actually means? Each residence costs about $56 right now. That's not the question. Well, that's the current costs. It's not the costs. What is the total amount that we will receive? How many households do we have? Is it 10,000? It's the number of residents times that, but I don't have the figure here. You don't have the figure. I don't have it with me. There's a few councillors. When we had the presentation last regular meeting for the council, some of us asked, I think it's Councillor Cormier asked this question. I think it's her. What percentage of penetration do we have in the blue bag in terms of, because the presentation spoke that we had to get to 3%. If we're not up to 3% over time, there could be a surcharge of $1,500 per truck when we go to the landfill. Right now, they're saying that people who were here, they said that we are 20%. What is the plan to get from 20 to 3%? Do we have a plan? Communications plan, some kind of plan. You're asking us today to opt in. I'm not in disagreement in principle. In principle, I agree with opting in. But it's this gun to the head that I don't like as we opt in. It's been 20 years, Your Worship. He just mentioned that we have a recycling program and we're at 20%. We maybe started at 75% and we went down to 20%. So now we have to go from 20 to 3%. It's a huge amount of work that was accomplished to get to 20%. Well, let's imagine the work that will be required to go from 20 to 3%. Are there some means to get there? Well, the implementation of the program starts May 1st, 2024. We have a bit of time in terms of raising the awareness with the public. We have the councillors of the program are saying there's not be somebody first day who's going to just leave all your bags at the by the road. But they're telling us that there will be a grace period and that we really need to make a blitz to inform the public in terms of the changes. That's basically where we're at. Don't forget, the program will be implemented whether we opt in or opt out. Opt in is the fact that we take charge of doing the collection of the recyclables, to be able to schedule and go to tenders and include it in our Ferro is doing the collection for garbage collection right now. It'd just be another part of that contract. If we don't do it, we still need to enter into a contract for garbage for the other things that not part of this program. In addition, there'll be a third party that will come into town and do their own schedule for collection. So we lose complete control. Is it the same day, same time? It's not even necessarily once a week either. That's where we see the advantage. Maybe once every 2 weeks. Thank you. And just for the question from before, 160,000. I 5,000 residences times that number. Thank you. That's good. Councillor Paul Boudreau. Yes, thank you. What I'm worried here, I'm mostly worried about the apartments. Mr. CAO, you're saying that the apartments don't recycle at all, zero. The owners, have they been consulted on this file? They're telling us that rents are high in Shediac. So with this, will it be another burden for renters, and do we need another dumpster? Have they been consulted? So $31. Is it 90 times 30 for, let's say, a 90-unit apartment building? It's mostly for the apartments. How will that work? Will there be 2 or 3 dumpsters behind the apartment? They will increase prices? That's my worry, Bob. We asked the same questions to the program administrators. As it stands, the decision that the city town can make in terms of opting in or opting out, the apartments are not impacted by the decision. They are directly with circular materials, irrespective of the situation. They'll start to recycle no matter what. We asked them the question, how are you going to separate all that out? They don't yet have a plan. They're working on it. And the start date is not necessarily 1st of May 2024 for the apartments. It's not just in Shediac, it's apartments throughout all of New Brunswick. I think that date would be different. One of the things that Councillor Cormier wanted to add, the communications plan, the education plan for our citizens within their residences, so they know Echo 360 will be providing that material, what goes in the blue, in the clear, and the green. And it is them that the municipalities will retain to do even more education on that front. One of the things that they will do, that the program sets out, the apartments are separate. Schools, also, they will force schools to recycle. So you're starting to raise awareness with the youth. This is always a good thing, because they're the ones coming up. They'll understand it's natural that such and such things go into a blue bag, or the other thing goes in the green bag. There's some good news there. Some things that the municipality will not control, but that it's something that's planned out in terms of the program. Councillor Patricia Book-Chevalier, you said just now that we pay $56 per residence right now to process waste, yes. So we'll receive 31 per residence. So there'll be some savings if we follow the regulations and we don't have any fines, but it could cost a little bit more in terms of the clear bags. Yes, that's it. It's as if everyone's used to it. We have one system with 3 bags, but now it will become 2 systems. 1 bag, 1 for blue bags, 1 for green bags and clear bags. For the blue bags, yes, our cost should go down with the rebate that we get from circular materials. But as Councillor Cormier was saying, if we don't address the contamination rate and it remains high, we could be penalized on the clear bags. So we're doing the best we can. We've made a recommendation with the info that we have available to us. It's not only the town of Shediac facing the decision. It's not just the Southeast Regional Service Commission. It's the eastern part of the province. When the province set up this program, they divided the province in two. They said the west part of the province, it will be implemented first, and the municipalities that opted in, there are some municipalities that opted out. Now it's on the eastern side's turn: Bathurst, the Acadian Peninsula, Miramichi, southeastern New Brunswick, and St. John and Kent. All of the municipalities in that region have to give an answer by the December 18th. I went to a meeting of the CAOs of Southeast New Brunswick last week, and as of last Thursday, the only unit that had official position was the town of Moncton, city of Moncton. We're all in the same boat. We're trying to sort out what option is best. We really like the working relationship that we have with Eco 360, and it's as if by opting into the program, we'll be able to continue with that relationship with Eco 360, and more so than if we opt out. That's why we've made the recommendation that we made. I was trying to put in my head, it's probably going to cost us less. We really don't know right now. So that's great. Thank you. So by opting in, as you'd say, it's the change that the citizens will see less. It's the smallest change we can make. Another change where you have a second body coming to pick up your recyclables, not necessarily the same week that you're used to, not with the same means. It might not be a bag. We don't know anything about what it might be. If we control the situation by opting in, with Eco 360, we can maintain our bag system. We're not going to complicate people's lives. They're already used to it. Yes, we'll have to reduce contamination. But contamination in the bag is, well, just stop to put it such an item in the blue bag, put it in the other. It's tough, but it's something that a person can learn. Councillor Emile O'Brien. Thank you, Your Worship. Apparently, we're starting to see more and more in town. They put wooden boxes next to their driveways. They put their garbage in those boxes. Is that going to continue, or is there some kind of bylaw? Do you know what I mean? I know what you mean. There's a wooden box, and it's as if the garbage is inside. I think you're going to see that more and more. You didn't see this so much before, but you see it more and more. Or is that a practice that will continue? This change doesn't address that at all, but we do have a municipal bylaw on garbage collection. We'll have to see if there's changes to be made, or if we should be maybe apply it, or maybe we do it less. You put the garbage in the box and it's always overflowing. It doesn't look good. When it's new, it's okay, but it doesn't stay nice for long. Well, garbages and such are a pretty thing to see, but Madam Deputy Mayor, I'd like to read the motion. We've had discussion without reading the motion. I'm Eco 360, new recycling program. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac opt into the provincial ERP-PPP recycling program and become the service provider of collection service for the program. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Patricia Bourque-Chavarie. Are there any questions on the motion? As you said, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Did you have a question? Do you want to make the motion for the next one? The next motion is for the council meetings for 2023-2024. Whereas the procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of the Town of Shediac number 23-03 is to be used to develop a plan for the conduct of council meetings. Whereas the rules and regulations of the procedural bylaw of the Municipal Council of the Town of Shediac number 23-03 may be suspended by a unanimous vote of the members of council present. Therefore, be it resolved that the regular meeting scheduled for December 18, 2023 be cancelled. Be it further resolved that the plenary meetings of January 1st, February 5th, March 4th, April 1st, May 6th, and June 3rd, 2024 be cancelled. Be it further resolved that the regular meeting schedule be amended to include meetings on January 8th and 22nd, February 5th and 20th, March 4th and 18th, April 2nd and 15th, May 16 and May 21, and June 3rd and June 17, 2024. These meetings will start at 6 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. I so move. Moved by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau. Are there any questions on the motion? Councillor Chevary. So here we are in the month of June. In the meantime, are we going to be working on based on the bylaw to come back to 2 meetings? It's the desire of the council. It was the desire to continue. We'll do amendments to the bylaw such that we don't have to do this every 6 months. So we're going to work on that in the new year to change the bylaw. Thank you. Councillor Peter Breau. There's work to be done. They'll have a few months to do it, but the temporary accommodations are in place. I'm just looking for March 4th. That's the March break for schools. We can do it anyway. My children are grown up now, but so all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. 15.3. Motion for Pelerin Wharf. This was by Emile O'Brien. I'll read it in English. I did it in English. Prepare it in English.
Okay, so given that council members received information from the Friends of the Riverside Park outlining a legal opinion from the law firm of Forbes, Roth and Busk, confirming that the town of Shediac was conveyed this property in 1962. Given that records and legal search indicated that at no time did the town of Shediac convey this property to another party. Given that Service New Brunswick lands records indicated that the property is presently registered to another party. In light of this information, I move that the town of Shediac retain legal counsel and that legal actions be undertaken by the town of Shediac to reaffirm its continued ownership by challenging the existing quit-claim deed on property number 243792. J'en fais la proposition, Monsieur le Maire.
Proposé par le Conseil O'Brien.
So moved by Councillor O'Brien, seconded by Councillor Peter Breau. Questions on the motion? Councillor Paul Boudreau. Well, just a question. First of all, I congratulate Emile for making progress on this file. Was this motion written by the administration? No. May I ask a question to Emile? Ask it through me. Yes, no problem. He'll hear it. On the first paragraph, everything seems fine. This word, confirmation. Where does that come from, Emile? Councillor Emile, I turn on your mic. It comes from the Forbes, Busk, and Roth report that confirms that information. So, the town and the administration, do we have legal confirmation? Did they receive it? The Friends of Riverside Park? It's an important word, confirm. It leads to other things in this file. I just want to be sure that if we vote, that the word confirm really means confirmed. Well, just in the paragraph as well, there's another word, a verb. It indicates that the town of, who indicates that the town of Shediac had never transferred this property? Again, it's the report. This is based on the Forbes-Rothenbach report. It indicates this. I'll read the paragraph in the report. It says, nous avons fait une recherche de la ville de Shediac pour l'acte de 1962 au moment présent. Et cette parcelle de terre n'a jamais été cédée et est toujours sous le nom de la ville de Shediac. It's, is it an opinion or a confirmation? I'm open to changing wording. The objective is to determine who owns the land. The objective here is to take legal action to contest it. It's not to ask the question to who it owns to whom. The intention is this one. I know that the motion doesn't say that, but the motion is the motion, precisely.
All right.
Okay. Anything else, Councillor Paul? No. Just to reiterate, in terms of those two words, I find it a bit strong in terms of going forward with this file. To go further to confirm the files that we've been given. I'm not a lawyer, far from it. But to go further, to my knowledge, it would have to be confirmed to pursue the intention that you seem to be pushing forward here. That's my own point of view towards this motion. Councillor Emile, allow Councillor Paul to finish his comment. Thank you, Emile. Now, Councillor Chevalery. Thank you, Your Worship. It might be a bit in the same vein as Councillor Boudreau. I read the motion. I thought a bit about, in terms of what we discussed in our closed session and our in-camera session. I understood that what we want to do, the motions that we were going to be doing, myself and Emile, were the same thing. But here, if I'm understanding properly, you're saying it's not the same thing. It's not a title search. Councillor Emile O'Brien provided the motion as he didn't indicate a title search. We can modify the motion if the person who makes the motion is in agreement. The motion is in the possession of the council. It is moved and seconded. The motion would propose to retain the services of a legal counsel and take legal measures. We're taking the legal action. Can we modify the motion? We can certainly propose an amendment, and if it matches up with the theme of the motion, that we have to determine that. You could propose a motion, you go left rather than right. You don't want to have something that goes opposite, but you have a choice to propose an amendment. Well, either an amendment or add some steps to this motion that we go see. Did we do a title search? I'd understood in the in-camera session. We said, well, you're all nearly doing the same thing. I understand from you when you spoke. Now that Paul has asked the clarifying question, and we've clarified that we're not going to see whose land it is with that motion. No, we're taking legal action. We're not checking. We're taking we're accepting what the legal firm is said. This is what the motion says. The motion does not say we'll make a title search and then come back to the council. Mr. CAO, I saw you hit your microphone. No, but yes, we certainly got a legal counsel. It was an in-camera session. Based on the discussion that took place during that meeting, on the November 20th, November 28th meeting, there were two council that indicated intentions to bring forth motions. We had an in-camera discussion with our lawyer, and ultimately, there's only one councillor who submitted there. I was there, but I had understood there's only one councillor who submitted something. And when we made a suggestion to try to modify, it's the Ms. I wanted to have it be presented as I'm presenting it. We're just presenting what we're presenting it as he presented it to us. We did not modify it because we were told that we couldn't modify it. That we couldn't modify it. The council is free to modify it, but the administration could not. So we had to present it as it is, and which is what we did. So can we add
qu'on devrait vérifier à qui ce qu'appartient le terrain avant d'aller plus loin?
So we check who owns the land before we go further, and considering that, or should we? I don't think you can add this step right now. But however, legal action. He was looking to the English version. So to do the research, and then you would decide if you want to start legal action. So
undertake the actions. Donc, pourrait faire une recherche, mais on poursuit pareil. Donc, moi, je jugerais si on veut faire.
We're doing some research, but we're still suing, taking legal action. But if we want to do another step, we cannot stop this step already in the motion. So if it's something you would like to stop, like a legal action, as presented in the motion, it does not coordinate. It doesn't match. So when you modify a motion, you cannot change the nature or the intent of the motion. The nature of the intent of this motion is to start legal action, so that we would, regardless if we do some research or not, the motion says to undertake legal action. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure what Councillor O'Brien meant. When he wrote, that's what he wrote. That's what we have in front of us. And Councillor O'Brien even confirmed with the administration. So it's what he wanted for a motion. He provided it in English, and we translated the motion in French. So if we want to go forward, I think it was the interest of the people at our meeting we could have a special meeting, maybe just to go forward. You presented a notice of motion on November 20th meeting. I understand, but now you could bring the motion to the attention of the clerk. And the clerk will make sure it's clear, it's read clearly, and then it would be based on the discussion we have. So, and it would be brought to a next regular meeting. So the motion from the council members are presented at a regular meeting.
Point of order, Harry? Councillor
We
conflicts with the position that council took in April. Should we not determine first whether we need to rescind the motion that we all supported in April before we start picking in other directions on that same subject? I mean, it was clear that the council concluded further consideration in this matter and let it remain as is. If someone wants now for council to revisit for this reason or that reason or that reason, it seems to me that we have to respect the position that council took in April. And maybe if council wants to rescind and get back into considering the matter, we probably need a lawyer to advise on that. But I do believe that it is a valid point of order. I don't think you can make a decision and then just without regard for what you've already decided as a council, start moving again in a different direction. or reopen a case without the unanimous consent of council. Thanks for the
Thank you for
opportunity.
raising the point of order. Always will recognize somebody with a point of order. I'm just trying to find the motion on it was on the 24th of April. Okay. No, that's why. Now, council on the 24th of April, be resolved that council, based on the recommendation received by the administration, reject options 2B and 2B modified. It was a slightly different version as permanent long-term solutions for canoes, kayaks, and paddleboards looking to access to the Squirrel River, and be further resolved that council mandates the administration return to council with other options at its May 15, 2023 meeting. That took a little longer, but anyway, whatnot. That was moved by Councillor Boudreau, called Boudreau, and Councillor and the Deputy Mayor at the time. Now that was. And it had to do with the access to water, not necessarily who owns the land, or is there land that the town should be taking action to affirm its property in a sense. I don't know if that's the proper word. So I know that the group has maintained that the land, and the group has strongly said that a number of times. They wish still to have that water access reopened, period. That's their sole reason for bringing this to council a number of times. At least that's what I've understood. But I wouldn't think that the motion in April was contrary to what Councillor O'Brien is asking. They're related, but they're not the same. I could sort of see that. Now,
so yes, you said, "Oh, I turned off the mic." So, Mrs. Deputy Mayor, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So my comments are concerning, because we have a motion on the table and it was seconded, so we'll make the motion on what was dictated, like in the motion. In my opinion, I'm in favor of doing a title search as next step. It would give us like some time scale and all the past owners of this parcel of land. So the motion, as presented by Councillor O'Brien, suggests that to proceed with a legal action with the actual owner. I'm in favor to do a title search, and after we'll be able to take an informed decision. So if the town was never the owner of this land, so this file would be closed, we turn the page. But if the town, for whichever reason, was the owner of this land any given time, before Rosbach is mentioning in their letter, so why don't we that our name? I'm talking about the town. Why was the town named, the name of the town was not part of the PID? And that no property tax were paid on this piece of land. Like at a meeting, like we were told by our municipal lawyer that the quick claim deed was done, and in 1993, no one is talking. In 1993, the town confirmed with a letter and a document that the town was not interested in having this land. There was a disconnect that was done somewhere, and I think a title search would give us like the time scale. My first opinion in the past was it did not concern us in the town. I didn't want to do it, but at this point, for a little amount of money, I would be okay, and I would vote like that we go forward with that. What I said this evening, I will not be voting for this motion because it's not what I would be ready to do. Thank you very much. Councillor Roland-Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Emile, for bringing this resolution. Each councillor, they can bring like the resolution they want. It's their right, and And I think the resolution is not clear. There's a lot of willingness. There are some maybe assumption which might be true or not true if we take the opinion of Forest Basque. Forest Basque is not, unfortunately, it's not our lawyer. It's someone retained like Forest Basque. They certainly have a good reputation, but what was the real question like that was asked at the Forest Basque? We're talking about a property search of 1962, so that land existed prior to 1962. What was who were the owners before? So I agree that for once and for all, like we clarify who own this lot. So we have to clarify this, but the motion we have in front of us this evening does not clarify this. Unfortunately, so we invite like the next meeting as Patricia, so that you can bring a resolution to see like who is our owner and who is the owner of the land, and once we can establish who owns the land, we'll decide which option we will want to pursue. Thank you, Councillor Cormier. Councillor Peterborough. So my question is for the clerk. I was under the impression that to reaffirm like their property right to do a title search. I see it's not the case, and can I withdraw like the support of this motion? So once the motion has been seconded, and I will let Mr. Clerk confirm because I'm chairing the meeting. So once the motion has been moved and seconded, it's in the possession of the group. And we need a result, vote in favor or not in favor. So by seconding the motion or supporting, if you want to vote against the motion, you can. But the mover can vote like against this motion, like I will be voting against. Mr. Mayor, Council, so I would like to make a motion. We table this motion. So I have a motion to table this. So if we table, it will come back to the next meeting. It means like the same motion would come back to the next meeting. Councillor O'Brien, like you will, since you were the mover, you will speak last. So I have another one. So Councillor Patricia, if we table it, does it have to come back like to the next meeting or the next meeting? As our lawyer told us, you can move like to do a title search at the next meeting, but the motion would come back and we will not have the opportunity to give this mandate like to the lawyer. So it will be tabled if it's a meeting right away, or it could be coming back like in a year or so, like. As the lawyer like mentioned to us in the camera, what was like how long it would take? It will take more than the next meeting. That's what I'm asking you, like so it's tabled to the next meeting and it will be coming back for another vote, like. So we cannot table it again. So if we can table for more than 1 month, it would be for the next meeting, like. They would have to come back to the next meeting. You can only table it for a month. Yeah. Or 2 weeks essentially, but it will be a month before for the next meeting because we cancel like our December 18 meeting. So Councillor Paul, and then I will go back to Councillor Emile. Can I modify this motion this evening? You can propose an amendment, and can propose like an amendment to all. It depends, like so how you want to modify the. The motion, if you allow me to read, like you can read it like you have, considering that the council members receive some information from the Riverside Park concerning like legal advice from for law firm for Rossbachs confirming that the town of Shediac was conveyed this property in 1962. Given that records and legal search indicated that at no time did the town of Shediac convey this property to the light with this information, I move that the town of Shediac continues like the process to know like to find out who to do proceed to a research title for this deem on the property number 243792. So does it make sense? It's an amendment that's a little bit too big for the motion. It's an amendment. I apologize. We're having a meeting and he's proposing an amendment that's non-receivable. I'm the mayor. I can give that adjustment. I would ask to keep quiet, please. So, Mr. Clerk, so the idea is good. The only thing, like the motion that's already on the table goes beyond like what you're trying to change. No problem. So it really changes like the scope of this motion. Thank you very much, Sylvain. It was my intent just to find like a solution. And thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the problem is the two motions you're trying to make. They're too different from each other. They're too different, like because one is talking about doing a title research and the other one is talking about some legal action. So it's very different. Like if it's absolutely what you want, if it's one option, what would be to vote against this motion and at the next meeting to move a motion to do a title search. And then with the title search, we'll be able, once the title research completed, the council can always decide what they want to do. But here, we're trying maybe, we're putting the horse before cart. So we're talking about to go directly like to court without doing anything before. But trying to modify this resolution, well, it changed the scope of the resolution. Thank you. Councillor O'Brien. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just want like to take the opportunity to explain like why I came to this this decision, why I decided to bring this motion. So I will read the text. After receiving the information from Mrs. Odette Pellerin and after receiving Forsbach report, it was clear in my mind, like the town still own the property title of the deed of descent. After this report in 1961, the Royal Trust Company in Montreal Corporation with an office in St. John, New Brunswick, was the grantor. So they did the work. So they did the work like to transfer like to the town of Shediac. So the property title, the deed was witnessed by Paul Thériault and stamped with the town of Shediac seal and signed by the former mayor of Shediac, Mr. Joseph Landry. According to the information, between like the 1875 and 1918, so some land changed hands, like either they were sold or given. So the information of that deed clearly indicated like the Webster family like took possession of this land in 1918 with no change, except like in 1961, the year like the Webster family like gave the piece of land to the town of Shediac to create the Riverside Park, and additional research on this land would not be useful and not necessary. I just want to repeat like the conclusion of the report of the Ford Ross Basque firm, like provided by Odette Pellerin. I will repeat it again.
We have searched the town of Shediac
switch to English.
From 1962 to the present And this parcel of land has not been conveyed and remains in the name of the town of Shediac. Ça, c'est tout sur la deed, c'est sur
It's on the deed, it's on the Forbes Basque report. So based on the information that were submitted to me, it's clear, like in my opinion, the town of Shediac still owns like this property title of this piece of land. And for this reason, I encourage like the members of the council to vote in favor of this motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. So on the question, I apologize, the public cannot talk during our discussions. So on this motion, as read by Councillor O'Brien, all in favor signify by saying aye. Against. Nay. So the motion has been defeated. Thank you. Next item, 15.4. Town of Shediac, like the Borrowing Commission, Capital Borrowing Board by municipalities. Just a quick summary. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, well, it took some time like to finalize all the quotes and like the budget quotes, like the estimate to present, like the exact amount, what the projects, like the capital project we had discussed, like during the budget discussion, what it could represent. So it's mostly our finance director and the municipal operations director, like they were able like to confirm those numbers with the help of our engineer. And as you know, like prices are increasing. We have the list of projects that was identified like during the budget process, and you would remember like we already gave the green light like to the fire station project and also like the ladder truck, and there were still like other projects to come. So the first projects is to redo a main street from the Foch Bridge on to Chester Street. So this project was supposed to happen in 2024 when the municipality submitted a plan to the province. The province told us is giving us a certain amount of money like for this project, and it should be done in 2024. So this project to extend like Beaubridge Street to Bellevue Street and to redo the Bellevue Street up to Main Street. So it was the second priority that the department or the council identified. And then we had also mentioned like the need, and the team did a presentation like on the storm drain that has to be replaced, and they are very old, and also and this spring like we had problems like on the trail, so we had to remove cut some of it, and it was dangerous, and there are two pieces of equipment like that we have to replace. And you will see like the list we discussed during the budget was longer. And some projects were moved for 2024 because the cost. So once we were able to confirm the numbers with the engineers, and the first three projects got bigger, and so we thought it might be good like to remove like the Epopee Street for 2024 because some work was already done by the team this year. So we think it could last a little bit longer. And two other pieces of equipment we wanted to buy like at first, but we decided like to wait an extra year because with the projects we have on our list and also the environmental hygiene, these projects would be paid through the water fund. So the first two projects are related like to the Main Street and Beaubridge. So the water part would come here, and also we will have also the improvement project for the water treatment plant. And we had another presentation from our engineer on this file. to show you the importance of this project. So it's a big amount. It's close to 18 millions in terms of capital projects, and with it will have an impact of our debt ratio. Even with the increase of the tax base we had this year, well, so with those projects, I think the debt ratio was close to 19%. And so these projects are important for the future development of the municipality. So we can answer your question and discuss it. But at the end of the day, the council would decide if you go forward or not with this project for 2024. I don't know if you want to add anything. I pretty much covered. I think that the majority, I would repeat that for the Peuplier Street, like we're confident we could do some works. And also like we have two pieces of equipment, like one was the loader and that was proposed, and so we will wait another year, I think, at least. And then there's also the sweeper truck that we're supposed like to replace, but I think we should be good like for another year. Maybe one last point, like just to show you, like we're always saying how much the market change, and when the municipality submitted like the estimate for the Main Street project from the Fauchbridge to Chelsea Street to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, it was in August 2021. They gave those quotes. We're talking about a $2.3 million project, and now with this project is $6.9 million. If we had like those two parts together, it tripled. Literally, it tripled within 2.5 years, and we did not go to tender yet. So it might be less, but it could be more. So we are relying on the quotes like based on the project like that were granted this year. So with our engineer, we're doing our best, but it's just to show you like within 2.5 years. So one project, it tripled like in terms of cost. So, and I can also tell you like, so the contingency we're included is probably higher than what it was. Just to not to have surprises, like it varies from 15 to 20% depending on the projects, and it's another reason like it's higher. We'll be closer to 10, but not to ask for an amount like really it's the market will dictate like when we go to tender. We'll see with the call for tender to do another decision that might not be interesting. We might have to remove something on the list. Always possible to do so. So for discussion, I still have a motion on table. Councilor Boudreau, would you like to read it? It's a little bit long, but just a comment to see what other projects. We are there like we are at the service of the residents. Be it resolved that the municipality of Shediac under the Municipal Capital Borrowing Act is asking the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board for authorization to borrow for capital expenses for the following terms and amounts. The item Main Street for Fox Street to Chelsea Street. So it's a 15 years, $5,900,000. Beaubridge Street, Bilby Street, 15 years, $5,475,000. Stonebridge for trails, 15 years, $1.2 million. Sidewalk for snow removal vehicle, 10 years, $1,265,000. Tandem truck and snow plow, 10 years, $435,000. Environmental health services, Main Street from Fox Street to Chelsea Street, 15 years, $920 Street. Beaubridge Street and Bellevue Street, 15 years, $606,000. Water treatment center upgrade, 25 years, $3.1 million, a total of $17,900,000. $981,000. Be it resolved that the treasurer be authorized in the name and on behalf of the town of Shediac to negotiate interim funding for the General Capital Fund according to the authorization issued by the New Brunswick Municipal Finance Corporation. I shall move, and I would have a couple of questions after. Moved by Councillor Paul Boudreau, seconded by Harry Michael Roy. Councillor Boudreau, questions? Could we have a list eventually of those projects and other projects, as you referred to, Mr. Like the fire station, and also the list, because we were very generous and I was very happy for the water and sewer. We identify like big ticket items like pay as you go. So if we could have the list, like so what the town will have in infrastructure and projects for 2024. So the other question.
La prochaine ronde ou conseil qu'on
pourrait... For the next round of the gas tax, what could we get it to address the 17 to 18 million? You talk about increasing costs when we get Ottawa contributions. Does it go up to help? Not always. For your first question, yes, for sure. We can make a list with all the projects that were approved as part of the budgetary process. Can certainly do that. When we received, well, maybe you'll remember when we discussed this at the council, we had to redo the list of priorities for future projects provincially. We prepared a list. When we received that letter from the department did say that it was aware of the fact that the markets had changed and that costs had increased, and that they would look at the possibility of doing more. But up till now, nothing has been confirmed. Up till now, a little more than 1 million that was confirmed. The exact amount, well, it was about a bit above 1 million for the first project, the main street full bridge to Chesley. They said that they'd revise that amount, but we have not yet to receive confirmation. Pardon me, your last question? The gas tax. Yes, the gas tax. We don't have any news from the province or the federally. The last agreement between the two levels of government expired March 31, and we were told that we'd have some news this fall. It's December 4th, no news yet. These are agreements made between the federal government and the provincial government, and then the municipalities are advised. Up till now, to my knowledge, nothing has been announced between the federal government and the province of New Brunswick. The gas tax is not capital. It's basically per citizen. So with the amalgamation and the municipal reform, it's like 10,011. It would be could be more generous. Yes, it should increase, but we don't have figures yet. As I said, the agreement, everyone is saying it's coming, but the agreement has not been renewed yet between both levels of government. And federally, the Canadian Federation of Municipalities is applying pressure and lobbying on the federal government so that they continue to double the amount. It's 2 years in a row that they're doubling the amount of the gas tax. Canada Communities Buildings Fund. They found a better name for it. It's 2 years in a row. And then because of COVID, a bit because of COVID, because that they doubled nationally what they're giving. They're trying to get it, but it may go back to the regular amount. But it's an agreement that they usually sign it for a 4 to 5 year term. It will be coming. Federally, they will continue the program. What the financing level, maybe instead of doubling it, if they will at least come back with one, it will give us money. Thank you. You're welcome. Councillor Peter Breau. Yes. Related to one of the comments from the CAO, in terms of the debt ratio that could go up to 19%, we have to be careful with that percentage. If we look, there's over $100 million for building permits. is certain that it requires capital projects. At this stage, I wouldn't be overly worried about that percentage because I don't think whether it be 19, 20 or 15 at this stage, what's important here is to make sure we can serve the town with the infrastructure that we need. And I think that you've done the work you needed to do, the eliminating some of the costs that can go back. We pushed back a year or two. They're real costs. They're quite high. The growth, the very rapid growth of the town forces us to do this work, and I wouldn't want this work to stop because of a percentage. And I always try to be below 20%. At this stage, I would advise you to not necessarily look at that ratio right now. I think over the years, with the additional taxes coming, it'll balance itself out. And I would support this motion in full. Thank you, Councillor Bro. Just on that point, Councillor Bro, you're right. At a few times, we've had discussion with the province as relates to the debt ratio. And even they say between the reform, the ratio is not as important as it had been, at least for the next few years, because they realized that the mergers, the amalgamations of municipalities around the province have created an unbalancing of the ratios. Maybe there were municipalities that didn't have debts, and then they merged with the municipality that has debts, and then the ratios are different. They said themselves to not be too worried over the debt ratio. Certainly, the municipality, everyone knows where the growth rate is phenomenal here. It's an increase of 20%. It's not to say that it'll be 20% each year, but there'll be growth in terms of our tax base for the years to come, and this will calm down that ratio a bit. So, if the province is less insists less on it, there was a time when the municipality could not go past that ratio. They don't hold us to it as much because they realize that things have changed a lot provincially, and that there have to be adjustments that are made. Dieppe, the ratio for Dieppe was around 30%, and they were able to bring it down. Now they're at 9%. But the town of Dieppe, they had to present a plan on how they were going to work to bring it back. And then they made massive investments. Well, that's it. Thank you. You're welcome, Councillor Ronald Cormier. Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to continue with the questions that Paul was asking. For those who weren't here at the time, the gas tax. I'm understanding that it's 1 or 2 ratios, but what does it really mean when you're in a municipality of 7,000 people and now you have a ratio of 1? Was it 1 million in revenue, or was it 20 some odd million in revenue? We just said we got 21.5 million in revenue total right now. It was approximately 500,000 a year. Based on the ratio of 1, based on the last agreement, that was the ratio of 2, 500,000. The point I'm making here per year, the point I'm making here is if we can get grants, we could certainly get them, and we should take them. But it's not the solution to our problem long term. Maybe we're talking about 1 million, maybe, in terms of additional revenues, which is good, and we should certainly, but it's not the solution to our problems, to our financial problems. It will lighten the load, but this is a point I wanted to make. But in terms of capital projects, I think these are all needs, not wants. We need these things. But I want to make the point here, and I will continue to make it. There are people around the table, and our citizens think that a pool and another Another multi-purpose center with an arena is important for citizens. I think that's the case. But at some point, we'll have to ask if we have the grant, the federal grant, if we have a provincial agreement, provincial federal agreement. We're talking about a $60 million project. I don't know what this means for the municipality, but I can count, and it will certainly drastically impact our debt ratio. That's the only point I want to make. Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertrand. Well, I think that the ratio is important to a point. With the budget, we kept our tax rate where it was. The municipality of Dieppe and Moncton went down, and Moncton's paying a little less than us now. We always told the community if things are great, if the community have money, I think we have to continue to look and make sure. We don't want to do all these projects that are necessary projects, not end up next year and tell the citizens, look, we got to put up your taxes. We spent too much. Because when Moncton, lots of people moved to Moncton, and they're paying more in Moncton, and now they're paying more in Shediac. Just to take into consideration when we do our projects, to not put the tax rate up, because a lot of people have a hard time. That's all I want to say. Thank you, Councillor Bertin. So on the question of these investments, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. So land acquisition for Bro Bridge extension, phase 1. Mr. CAO. Well, there I'll ask our director. He's more familiar with this file. We're in the very first steps of preparing the parcel to extend Bro Bridge Street. Mr. McEwen, we're trying to make some progress and buy the necessary land to make the project well in advance to avoid problems that you can see if we're too last minute about it. So the two parcels of land described in this recommendation are necessary to complete the intersection between Bro Bridge and Bellevue Heights to do the project that we've just discussed. One's a bit larger, and then the part that will become the extension for the first property, that one is $63,000, and there's an agreement made with the landowner. And the other one, we need the front part of a yard to complete the works. The agreement is $10,440 for that one. There's two survey plans, preliminary survey plans that accompany the information. Bob, if I'm right here, the land on the west side are already belong to us. We needed more land on the east side. The ones on the west side, we already owe them to get from Bro Bridge to Bellevue Street. It's next to the land parcel where well number 12 was installed in 2022. This is for the land of future Bro Bridge that would go towards Ohio. The first bit to complete this first project. There'll be more next some parcels. Yes, there will be more. Great. Councillor Joel Dupré, do you want to move it? Acquisition of land for extension of Bro Bridge Phase 1. Therefore be it resolved, the town of Shediac purchase a portion of the parcel of land with PID 00866-491 from the owner for a value of $63,000 and a portion of the parcel of land with PID 703385520 from the owner for a value of $10,440 to accommodate the construction of the Bro Bridge Phase 1 extension. Surveying and legal services will also be provided by the town of Shediac. Funds will come from the account associated with the project, TS 24-23702. I so move. Moved by Councillor Joel Dupré, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertrand. Any questions on the motion? Councillor Ronald Cormier? The figures that we have, are they market? Yes. Thank you. Good question and good answer. So, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. 15.6 parking multi-sport surface. Do you want to do a little something? I can do a quick summary, and then I might ask the director, who may be more familiar with this one. I don't know. The director of community life did present the plan for the multi-sport surface. So now the next step is to start the engineering work to be able to make the road and the parking to serve the multi-sport surface and the ball field that was renovated and redone in large part this year. So we sought 2 bids this time. We didn't get 3, but we did get 2. And the recommendation is to go forward with the lower bid. Both, the lowest bid. Is there anything else, Bob? I think that if Julie would like to add something in terms of the project. It's to add lights to the parking lot and also an access way, and we have to add internet. So the engineering company will set out all the steps so that we know that we're self-sufficient and we don't no longer need to add any works. And given that we're adding some parking, maybe 2, depending on the engineering plans, we want to make sure that we have a net zero plan. That's good. Thank you very much, Councillor Paul Boudreau. It's a good project. I see the Englobe proposal, 93,000, and the motion is asking for 79. We're going with the other one. There was our USP and Englobe, and we're going with the lowest bid. It's WSB. There's another attachment. I didn't see it. Thank you. That's great. Councillor Rodolphe Cormier. Your Worship, I have to congratulate the administration, staff. I criticize you sometimes. On the other side, I have to be consistent. This is to show that when you go to bids, go to tender, I don't want to make a big debate on this right now. We'll save a few $1,000s to our citizens, and I think that's our part of our role. Thank you, Your Worship, and I will personally support your recommendation. Despite the fact that he'd like door number 3 if it cost less. Great. So on the motion, all those in favor shall say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much. It was moved? No. Pardon me. It was moved. The Bro Bridge was moved. Extension. Be it resolved to award the engineering design and engineering service of construction of the parking lot project of the home hardware multi-sport surface to WSP at a value of 79,000 plus HST. The funds will come from the account 1-29290 special projects, sports infrastructure in the 2023 and 2024 budget years. I so move. Moved by Councillor Joël Després, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. I apologize. I was still kind of stuck in the previous vote. All those in favor shall say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Comment? Just for the administration, just you referred to the lights, Julie. This is for the parking? Okay. When the facility had been proposed, the neighbors on each other side of the street, they're very concerned about light pollution for such infrastructure. When it comes to lighting for the parking, that they want to light up the parking lot and not the neighborhood. They were worried for the surface. We must make sure that you address their worries in terms of the lighting in the parking lot. Thank you. Thank you for that comment. I know that the type of lights that are in our streets right now, compared to before, when it was orangey, that with the sulfur one, that really lit up everywhere. Now, the lights just shine directly below the post and not much more. So you see less lighting in the yards. We shall see. 15.7, incentives for residential development for row houses. Mr. CAO, this is a standard policy in terms of our incentives for residential development. In 2022, the company Pine View, it was 2022, yes, and it's claimed in 2023, they built 5 row houses, 4 units each, on the streets in Domaine Beau Séjour. So based on policy 1306, Pine View Management would be eligible to receive a residential development incentive, and the resolution is to that effect. Councillor Jonas Crummy, do you want to read it? Be it resolved that the town of Shediac issue a residential development incentive check from account 1-26410 for a total amount of $20,000 to Pine View Management Inc. I so move. Moved by Councillor Jonas Cormier, seconded by Councillor Germaine Galland. Any questions? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you very much. You had a question on that one? It's a bit late, but fine. There's no tax there. The bill has no tax, but it's a company. I thought there'd be tax, plus or minus, or including HST. But it doesn't indicate it there. That's a good question. Oh, she's sharp, eh? She surprised us. We'll check. It's not a large amount, but it might ruin that $20,000 figure. Thank you very much. No appointments for tonight. No appointments for tonight, unless you want to continue to stay here. It's number 17. Germaine proposes that we adjourn. Moves that we adjourn. Thank you very much.